Hey, welcome to Fuck That Formula. You already know what it is. So, this week we are going to be talking about those corporate salon promise, a big payout or a big letdown. So, this may offend some people. Don't know. It is what it is. I said what I said. If you work in a corporate, so let's just start it like this. If you work in a corporate salon and you like your corporate salon, I'm not talking to you. If you are very successful in your corporate salon, I ain't talking to you. If you love the hours, if everything works, you got the benefits, like it is fucking working for you, then this does not apply to you. Okay? This is more about corporate than it is you as a stylist. Okay? So put on your big girl panties and quit getting all sensitive. So I'm going to start this by saying, well, shit, I already started. But so corporate salons, I have had the great experience of working in a corporate salon, working in a suite, a full salon, and in cosmetology school. I've been really, really fortunate to have had experience of all these different areas. Now, by all means, that does not make me an expert on all things salons. No, by all means, does it make me an expert on all things in this business? No. Like, there's shit that I'm learning. I'm learning from other people. People are teaching me. I'm teaching other people. That's how we do this shit. So let's get that out there. These are strictly my opinion and based on some experiences that I've had or that I've seen. Now, with all of that bullshit out the way, a lot of salons, not all of them, a lot of corporate salons promise, especially newer stylists coming out. And let's just be honest, a lot of these newer stylists, especially the ones that are really excited about being in the business, they don't already have like a clientele. They really got their clientele based from cosmetology school or whatever. So I'm not talking about the young girls out there or the young men out there, that already maybe had like a little bit of a clientele set up or already had, they know exactly where they're going because they ain't got a business and blah. I ain't talking about them. A lot of newer hairstylists that are coming out, they're really excited. They're really eager to really get in. And a lot of times they're gullible. Let's just be honest. A lot of them are fresh out of high school. Not all of them, but a lot of them are fresh out of high school. So they're new to this industry. They're new to the adulting world. So for a lot of them, they kind of take whatever you're offering. I'm jumping on that. So even if you offer them, hey, it's going to be a 40-60, you as a stylist only get 40 and I get 60. Some of them may eat that up because something's better than nothing. And that has happened. Okay. So let's just shit, my hand's bright. That has happened. So a lot of times these corporate salons get some of these newer stylists coming out of school and they are promising them health care, which is great if you work at a corporate salon and you get that, but are promising them health care, education, growth in the business, able to work part-time or full-time, flexible hours, able to make all this money as if you were self-employed, right? Or whatever. Some salons do fulfill their promises. So I will say that some salons will say, hey, we're providing quality education. We're providing blah, 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 blah. And the reason why it's important that they do some of that is because cosmetology school ain't teaching shit. So a lot of these students come out and they hear that and some of them already feel like they didn't learn what they needed to learn for cosmetology school. Some of them barely passed their damn exam. And they're only doing certain types of hair in cosmetology school. They're not getting the full experience of doing all types of short, long cuts, layer and barbering cuts and stuff. Like, they're not getting that experience. So for some of them, this is like, bet, I'm on it. The problem comes when those corporate salons are advertising all these promises to these students, and then they get there and they realize the schedules aren't flexible. They are not the easiest people to work with. The education they offer you is bare fucking minimum. And it's some shit maybe that you did learn in cosmetology school. They tend to they cut your hours. So how in the hell you're supposed to really experience it when your hours constantly getting cut? You have, as far as clientele, yeah, you may be growing at that. You may be there getting clientele because they're bringing you clients, but the growth actually happens when you feel confident enough to be like, hey, I want to kind of go on my own. And you can't, because you can't take any client. They don't want you collecting any information from the clients and blah, blah. And sometimes what corporate salons fail to realize is some clients come in strictly for that stylist and some come for the convenience of that corporate salon. So if a stylist wants to take a client with them, let them have them. They weren't loyal to you anyways. They're not there for you as a company. They're there for the stylist. And I just feel like a lot of corporations, if they put more energy into the stylist and treat them better, then they may have a better turnout to where you're not having constant turnovers. You get what I'm saying? And so I just know with some of these corporate salons, they're promising, yeah, you're going to be able to grow your business. But again, you're not able to capitalize or take it or even contact these clients outside of the corporate salon. Then a lot of them, like I said, they're cutting your hours, or you're written up because, hey, you had to call in today. And again, as a stylist, when you work at a corporate salon, that is part of it. Like, you got to be accountable. If they're counting for you to come in or whatever, then you have to be held accountable for that. So I understand that. But some of these places run their business like a prison. You get what I'm saying? They run it like a prison, like, shit, if you not here at this time to this time and this and that, you're going to be written up. If you don't do this, I want everybody dressed in the same uniform. And a lot of that takes the fun out of doing hair, guys. When I tell you, working in a salon, it's the excitement about being in a salon, okay, versus being like in a suite. The excitement about being in a salon is the personalities, the creativity, the camaraderie, the feeding off of each other. You're educating me, I'm educating you. You see this one way, you see her hair being a level 4 and I see it being a level 5 or a level 2 or whatever. Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, or I think you should do it like this. Just the energy you get in a salon is so much different. And so when you go to a corporate salon and everything is, you gotta be here from this here. You gotta work this many hours. You gotta work, even if you say, hey, I need to adjust my hours because I take my kids to school or whatever it is. Well, no, you can't do that. And it's kind of like, well, fuck, I could have just went and got a normal 9 to 5. The point of me doing hair was to get into this industry, experience some of the creativity, the fun, and the freedom. But you suck the life out of it trying to be so strict in rules. And I get, there has to be structure everywhere. There has to be rules everywhere. But it just sucks. And a lot of times they promise these things that they don't fulfill. A lot of these students, like I said, they come out, they don't really know how to do. There's a lot of stuff they don't know how to do. And you throw them in a corporate salon and you're like, all right, do these highlights, and she wants a, she's a level 7, but she wants to be a level 10, and now you have to do highlights, and she wants to be cool and beigey, so you need to to figure out the formula for that. And then when you come back in, she also wants a root smudge, and then she wants in within the highlights, she wants some balayage or some baby light. Like, you start mixing all this shit. These students don't know that shit. And as a corporate salon, you should be doing training on that, on the shit that they're going to technically be using. Be products, be tools, be techniques. If you want to keep people in your corporate salon, you got to give them something to be excited about coming to. When you're offering, you're offering 60-40, and you as the owner is receiving 60 and they're only receiving 40, that's some bullshit. They're doing the work. Yeah, you may be providing shit, but you need to figure out what the budget is that allows them to make, you know what I'm saying, why you need 60%. Because technically they can take their 40% and take their asses somewhere else and try to build their business another way. So it's just sometimes I just feel like corporate salons become very greedy, and they lie to students. They lie to new stylists. Pay. When you're paying people $8 an hour, $9 an hour to stand on their feet 12 hours a day, who the fuck wants to do that? Yeah, it's a guaranteed paycheck, and that's what people bank on. It's a guaranteed paycheck. But as a stylist, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to give you 100%. Because the amount of work that I'm doing, the service that I'm providing, and the way I'm making your company look good, and the wear and tear I'm putting on my body, and you think I'm about to do this just for $8 an hour? You fucking lying to me. Okay. And so coming out of school, I get it. You're not going to be making, you're not going to be doing highlights for $300-$400. You're just not. You're not making that kind of money. But let them know that. Create some type of a program or incentive or something that gives these stylists something to be excited about when it comes to growing their business. The whole gift, like, some people love working at corporate and they don't want to, because I went to school with a few ladies that they went straight to a corporate salon. Not because they couldn't do hair, because they actually did really well in school, but they didn't really want to do the hustle and bustle of looking for clients. They didn't want the hustle and bustle of managing a books when they can just go to work. You send me the clients. I do what they want. You book it. I come in on the days that I'm booked, and on the days that I'm not, I'm either not in here or I'm taking walk-ins. Some people like that. That's easy peasy, and they like it. And I'm not knocking that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I'll be like, I can just go do this. But then I think about what potentially I could be doing. I'm like, nah. I can't go back to that. But I just feel like I feel like they could do a lot more in helping grow this business and helping people grow in their business. I know a lot of young people who start out in corporate salons that their goal is one day to own their salon, to own a actual salon, or even just to work independently. And I feel like a lot of corporations, but just like any other industry in the corporation, they kind of try to keep you stuck. So, and they try to keep you stuck on, even if you, prime example, keeping you stuck, you're taking care of their clients at the corporation, but you also are trying to build clientele on the side because your goal is to one day own a business. So you're like, hey, I'm going to also do clients on the side to try to get my name out there and work on whatever. Well, a lot of times some corporations will, if you're online posting about doing hair or things that you're doing outside of the corporate hair that you're doing outside of, they don't allow that. If you work, say for example, like if you work at just like a blowout bar, which they are very, very popular, whether it be silk press or a traditional blowout salon, they typically don't really, I mean, most of those young ladies there have other jobs, and they have to because they don't make enough at that job. And so they sometimes get in trouble for promoting, I'm doing, working in, like, say they're renting their friend's suite out for the day, and they're in there taking new clients, and they're doing blowouts with silk presses. But if they're posted online, and it's kind of like, well, what you doing? You over, you're only supposed to be promoting it. And it's kind of like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to build a business if I'm only able to promote your company? That's not. And so you end up, that's why turnover rate is so high. And then some people look at it. And then another thing is some of these corporate salons, if you break down the commission for some of them, this is why some of the stylists be leaving, because they ain't making no fucking money. If you break down a shampoo and style is $65, right? And then if they add on a treatment, or they add on haircut, they add on all these things, paying a stylist, if a treatment is $40, but they're only making $10 off of that 40, and the corporate is making the 30 and they're only making 10, why the fuck am I going to upsell anything? I'm not. Because I'm doing more work and I'm not making any money off of it. If you want me to promote, all these different services and products that we have, hell, even the retail. If I'm sold $100 worth of retail for the month, and out of $100, I'm only getting like $25, $30 of that, the fuck am I doing? I'm not doing that kind of work. I'm not hustling like that. That's just me. I can't, I'm putting in a lot of work to make somebody else rich, because I'm not making myself rich at all. I'm doing a lot of fucking work. And I think a lot of times corporate salons, that's the whole point. I mean, like, they're there to make money. So I always encourage students to try out a corporate salon just so they can see how it is, just to get familiar with the business. But it also, especially the ones who want to eventually get their own place, to me, it shows you what you don't want to do. It also shows you how to maybe run business, do books, the type of clientele you may have to deal with, the type of people you may have to deal with. And it also, to me, teaches you, like, get yourself in a mindset of, okay, this is what I want. I want to do it this way, this way. If you have tapped in all these different sectors of the hair industry, you start to understand the shit that you want and the shit that you don't want. Okay. And so I encourage them, because a lot of times, a lot of them, may have kids or whatever. A lot of them do need a paycheck. So they do need to go somewhere to where they can get a paycheck. But don't let that paycheck swallow you so much to where you're not fulfilling your dreams as far as learning the business and getting out there and doing your own thing. I definitely don't recommend that they go into a suite, but definitely get into a commission salon. I mean, if you can find a commission salon that is either, I hate 50-50, but a lot of people are doing 50-50, but I like 60-40s, where the stylist is making 60 and the owner is making 40. I also like 70-30s. I also definitely like 80-20s. I ain't heard of 80-20, but I definitely like it. Especially if, depending on what type of salon it is and what you're doing, if the overhead is low, you may very well be able to do a 80-20 or a 70-30 if your overhead is very low on far as commission. That right there entitles, that promotes growth. And to me, that promotes a style that keeps the stylist making money. If I'm making money where I'm at and the atmosphere is cool, the vibes is vibing, shit, where I'm going. So I'm not going to leave if I'm making money. If I'm able to pay my bills plus some, shit, I'm going to ride this out a little bit longer. But if I'm not able to make no money here, I'll take a chance. I'm a big one to gamble on myself. I'm always going to gamble on me. So at the end of the day, shit, if I'm not going to make no money here, then I might as well just do my own shit. Or I need to go work and try to rent a chair from somebody to where I'm only dishing out so many dollars a day or a week to and building clientele. And that's what it is. So there's so many places around here to offer like daily chair rental or week by week or whatever. And that's great, especially if you have a few clients that you're trying to get in, but you don't really work at a corporate salon, or you don't have your own place, you're not able to afford it. That's a really good way to do it. But corporate salons, I just feel like they are not, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them they're not helping stylists grow. It's just working it's sometimes I feel like you're just in a fucking assembly line. You just doing hair, next, doing hair, next, doing hair, and shit. You're not even, and some corporate salons are hourly. But if you've done 4 or 5 people in an hour, so let's say you work at like a blowout bar. And some blowout bars, they want you blown out in like 45 minutes to an hour, right? And I'm not talking about silk press. I'm talking about just like a strictly shampoo, product, blow dry. That's it. So a blowout bar, you may be having to do it like in an hour. Well, if I'm getting paid per hour, not per client, I'm losing. If I'm only making $16 an hour, but this client just paid y'all $90 for a blowout, I'm not making shit. I made $16 an hour. If I worked an 8-hour day, I did 8, probably more than likely, I'm going to say 6 clients that day. If they offer you a lunch, you probably did 6 clients that day at $16 an hour. The company just made $90 though, per client. I'm not even good at math, but that shit don't even sound right to me. It don't even sound right. And so a lot of times I don't think that they're necessarily ruining our industry, but I definitely think that some of them are preying on these up and coming stylists. And there's some stylists that have retired, and that's what they want to do. Corporate is easy. I don't have to stress over it. And that's what they want to do. And that's cool. They like, it ain't requiring me to work that hard, so I ain't working that hard. You do that. But for people that are new to this industry, or people that are still moving and shaking in this industry, corporate is really hard. I actually wouldn't mind working and then going back to working, training and working in a corporate salon. My issue is I need some better free range. I'm not a good employee. I realize that I'm not a good employee. I've been on my own too long. But when it comes to like scheduling and it comes to your being flexible, a lot of times they're not flexible. A lot of times you find yourself there doing hair more than you are at your own home. And one of the reasons, and for me, that sucks. Now, for some of y'all don't want to be at the house. So y'all like, shit, these badass kids getting on my nerves. So I'd rather be at work. But for me, when I was an employee, I found that was probably one of the hardest things that I did, was working at a corporate salon or cosmetology school. I felt like I was there more than I was with my family. I felt like I was taking care of all the needs for this company. I'm educating, I'm doing this, I'm teaching, I'm training, I'm fucking momming here and babysitting here and doing all this extra shit. And I was like, I haven't even seen my own family. And a lot of times, a lot of corporate salons, they treat it like corporate. They, it's a 9 to 5 type of gig. You got a lot of them, you have to work a weekend. You have to work, or the ones that are open on Sundays. The ones who never close. I am sorry. At some point, we should not be striving. Where in the fuck did we get this idea that that the salon needs to be open 7 days a week? When? Doctor's office, hell, Chick-fil-A not even open 7 days a week. Chick-fil-A even close a goddamn day of the week. Like, this is not like, I get like stores and stuff are maybe open 7 days a week, but it's just, there, some of these corporate salons are open 7 days a week from 7 or 8 in the morning to like 8, 9 o'clock at night. I definitely understand Monday through Friday, 8 to 8, to accommodate a lot of different people's schedule. And I also understand Saturday. But even on Saturday should be, we closing this motherfucker by 4, 5. You're open Monday through Friday from 8 to 8 to 9. You're open on Saturday from 7 to 4, 8 to 5, or whatever that looks like. Can y'all not close down one day of the fucking week? Can Sunday not be a day that people can fucking rest? Then some have the nerve, corporate salons have the nerve to want to be open. Like, we're going to work half a day on the holiday and we're going to, the fuck, are we greedy? So that's why I said some of this is more of a corporate thing, not necessarily a stylist issue. It's more of corporations, their greed, their promises, and their letdowns. Like, make it make sense. I just think that you would just have a better, if you want to keep morale up, you need to offer something. So if you're going to be open 7 days a week, you better pay the motherfuckers like you open 7 days a week. There should be some type of incentives. If you're going to open 7 days a week or whatever, and you're only going to pay them by the hour, they should get any type of, if you don't pay them by the hour, they should get by the hour plus commission on all the, extra commission on all the extra shit. Like, there's just so many things that I think that they should do. If you're going to open 7 days a week and you're going to be paying bullshit, then fucking offer some decent ass healthcare. Not no shit that's, that they're paying an arm and a leg for. Cause they can go work and somewhere else and hustle and do this other shit on the side. They can go work literally somewhere else, make more money hourly, and then do hair on the side and build that way. Especially if you're not going to let them, communicate with clients outside of the salon atmosphere. So my gripe is probably with more of the corporate salons. Then what pisses me off. I got a lot of issues, but also and I have issues because I've experienced, but I've also heard too many stylists complain about it. Then you have the nerve to have a corporate salon or corporate salons, whether they be inside like the malls or standalones or however they're. So I'm not saying one particular company or one. I'm just saying in general, you have corporate salons that when they're hiring managers, they're just hiring a manager. They just hire, if you were a manager at the local fucking Piggly Wiggly or Wendy's or Eckert's or Winn-Dixie, all that shit closed. But if you are just a manager, they'll hire you at some of these because you know how to manage. But I hate to tell people, yes, being a manager is being a manager, but being a salon manager, requires a whole nother type of skill. Managing fries and burgers and inventory and schedules and shit. Yeah, I need you to have manager experience. Yeah, that's a different. Fast food management is different. Hell, fast food management is different from warehouse management, which is different from office management, which is also different from fucking salon management. And then you have people who are managers who have no experience in our industry. Make that make sense. The reason why you continue to get managers with no hair, they've never done hair, they've never worked in a salon. Now, even if they've never done hair, but they've worked in spas, salons, stuff like that, good. Because they understand the management of not only stylists and schedules, also with clients and different the shit that comes with that. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of them, but a lot of the reason why you're not getting those quality managers, because you don't pay them shit. I'm sorry. The amount of time y'all ask salon managers to be at these corporate salons and the amount of bullshit that they have to take in these salons and amount of fucking work and babysitting and complaints and headaches from the clients, the stylists, and everybody else, you gotta pay them more than $40,000, $50,000 a year. I'm sorry. That you have to. It's a lot of shit that goes in it, but then you still have, KPI numbers you want to keep up. You still have all these meetings and all these numbers they have to hit. It's a lot of shit. They need to be paid way more than they're getting paid for. And I just feel like a lot of corporate salons start to come off as being greedy, not necessarily there to help benefit the stylists and to help stylists grow. And I get, as a corporation, you have to also, your bottom line has to match. I get that. But there has to be a way to restructure shit to where your managers are paid, quality pay, your stylists are paid, and that way you can retain people. I don't know if these are just some old ways. I always complain about the boomer generation because them motherfuckers get on my nerve, because a lot of businesses are ran by boomers sometimes, and their old ways and their ways of doing things don't necessarily match some of the new shit we have going on. Now, there's some shit they do makes total sense, but there's some shit it just doesn't match. But if you're going to structure, you have to be open to moving with the times and changing with the times. And if you're not open to moving and changing with the times, you're going to always have a constant turnover. And that's not good that's not good for your business, because when clients come in and the stylist that they're looking for is never available, eventually they're going to quit coming to that salon. But then I get pissed off at young stylists, because when you're in a corporate salon, that's your schedule. You need to fucking do your schedule. Now, if some shit you need to rearrange, you need to chop that up with your management or whatever and get them some shit rearranged. But you need to actually do what's on your schedule, because that's part of that salon business. Because if you had your own, you would have to abide by that schedule. I mean, I heard one young lady, she is a salon owner. I think they just do braids at that salon. I don't know. Don't matter. But she was offering like 70-30, and they got to make their own schedule. And I was like, bitch, where are you located? Because I can feed in now, okay? Don't get it twisted. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, what's the problem? The problem she's been having is she's paying them 70%. They can create their own schedules. Her problem is they don't show up at the scheduled time. So that's a whole nother issue. So if you're a stylist and you work these corporate salons or you work a commission salon like that, whatever time that you agree to, that's the time you need to be there. No matter how much you may not like it, only thing I can tell you is shit, work real hard to try to figure out how to get up out of it if you don't like that. But I have been fortunate to where even when I worked commission, because I was the only black stylist in this salon, because I worked commission, she let me do my own schedule. Matter of fact, I've always appreciated her. She was my first salon, well, technically my second salon, but my first real salon that I worked at. And I was able to, it was a 60-40. I was able to set, because I'm the only black stylist, so I was able to set my own pricing. I was able to set my own, like, everything. And yeah, she made money off of me. And she even told me some months in, she said, you may want to go to lease because I'm making money off of you. And I said, okay. So I did my year like I said I was, because I wasn't trying to rush anything. And I went lease. So I made all my money and I just paid her rent. And so I fortunately hadn't had actually doing standing behind the chair. I hadn't had to be on a schedule. So it was hard for me when I started working outside of being behind the chair and I had to be on a schedule. That was very hard for me. Like I said, I just felt like I was there more than I was with my family. And I ain't like that. But yeah, and I just think that, you know, and education wise, I just feel like I wish that if you're going to operate a corporate salon, you definitely provide some real good education. There's no reason to have a corporate salon and you want all these people to hold to the standard of service and you're not teaching them anything, whether they're new in the industry or not. I've had students who have called me while I'm servicing a client because they're at their corporate salon trying to do color and they're asking me how to formulate over the phone because their manager doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And in my mind, I'm sitting there thinking, how are you a salon manager and you cannot formulate color? You shouldn't be. If you just want to be manager, just manage the books. Leave all that extra shit out. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just saying, guys. So we just have to figure out, you have to figure out what works for you as far as, especially when you're just starting out, or even if you've been in the industry and you're like, I don't want the hustle and bustle. You have to know, you have to understand what they're offering, but also what comes with it. Okay. So again, I'm not trying to discourage anyone from getting a corporate job. I am just informing you that be aware when you get this corporate job that there's some shit that comes with it. It's just bullshit that comes with it. But it's also bullshit that comes with being independent. So you got to figure out which one you can deal with or you can't. Okay. Now, I will hit you with some benefits of working in a corporate salon because there are some stylists that have worked in corporate salons that it's paid off for them. Some go on to be, they work on the floor as a stylist. They go to, some start as a receptionist shit. They're going to be a stylist. They go on to be managers. Some of them going to work, as far as on the corporate level, not necessarily in the salon, but on the corporate level of training or education or whatever. So there are some people that started in a corporate salon and have really, really soared and has really, really done good for themselves working through a corporate salon. So again, it's not to knock corporate salons because they're not all bad. Some of them do exactly what they promised they would do. It also kind of comes down to sometimes the stylists. Some stylists see themselves growing there and they work really hard and they're willing to deal with some of the bullshit to work their way up. Now, how long that takes them, I don't know. I don't know personally. anyone that has worked their way up in that sense. But I do know there are some people, just, hearing people tell their story that have started a corporate salon and they work their way up to where they're like head of education or they are one of the educators or whatever. So there are plenty of routes. I will say working in a corporate salon sometimes does open doors for you that you probably didn't see that were available. So that's why I said I'm not going to shit on all of them. Because some of them, it's exactly what some people need, and some of them give you exactly what you were looking for. But for a lot of people, it's not that. A lot of stylists come in wanting to own salons, and so they need a path to that. And a lot of times, corporate salons, if you're not working for them or servicing them, they really don't want to do anything else. So that's the positive thing about working at corporate salons. And, having a consistent paycheck, having a set schedule, there's a pros and cons to all of it. There's pros to having a set schedule. There's pros to having, a paycheck, a consistent paycheck. There's pros to, being able to get free education, because I'm not sure how all of them do all their education, but to get free education is pros to not having to deal with the scheduling, booking clients and product inventory and stuff like that, and you have someone else managing your books. So there's some pros to a lot of shit when it comes to corporate salon, but there's also some bullshit ass cons to it too, and sometimes it is just a con. Anyway, so let me hit y'all with a little fuck that formula of the week, okay? A corporate salon isn't automatically bad. Some provide incredible training, steady clients, and a great place to build your skills. But don't mistake convenience for a career plan. If you're giving them your nights, weekends, holiday, your body, your creativity, your relationships, the paycheck, the growth opportunities, and respect should reflect that. If they don't, then fuck them. Okay? You are not... If they treat you like you're replaceable, then you should take your talents elsewhere. And for corporate salons, quit treating people like they're replaceable. So, if you got something you'd like to say about this week's episode, or you're a corporate salon and want to sit your ass here and talk about it, do that. You can hit me on talk@fthatformula.com. Or you can, hit me up on, on all my little social media if you want to chat or whatever. But anyways, leave your comments below. And until next time, no formula, no filter. Peace out, people.